Well, as the Joker said, here we go. Hey, Dave. Hey, everybody. Let me know you can see me and hear me, okay? That's the first thing I need on these things. And I'm out of practice. I'm out of practice. I forgot a couple of things. I had to remind myself of a couple steps setting this up. Thanks, Dave. So, Happy New Year, everybody. 2025. I can't hide. Hey, Kim. So, hey, Alan, Happy New Year. So, first of all, I'm uh, I'm trying this new thing where YouTube does ads automatically. So I don't know what that means, if it's going to pause me at some point, uh, or maybe it means nothing. I don't know. So, Darren, Happy New Year to you. Um, Alan sent me this. So cool. Check out the black background on the S. I loved what Brandon Routh's Superman said when Lois Lane asked him, uh, why'd you change it to black? And he said, because Lois, let me see if I can remember this. Because Lois, even in the hardest times, hope cuts through. Hope is the light that lifts us out of darkness. All right. So anyway, thanks for that, Alan. There was an ad at the beginning. What was the ad? Was it for? It was probably if it sees me, it was probably for hair coloring. You know, wash that gray right out of your hair. Except it's not gray; it's white. What are you doing, Monty? Anyway, guys, I missed you. Uh, Glad you're here. Tell me what you think of this. I think every once in a while, I've discussed this with Kelly. Every once in a while, we're going to have Kelly join me on Thursday nights. So not every time, but just, when he's available. And 90% of the time at least, it'll just be what you see here. But Jake, I like that. I've had the same thought about Superman. You know, uh, there's, I mean, we can't really apply scientific terms to comic books, right? But let's do it anyway for a second. Either it's a Star Trek thing where some ancient godlike alien race seeded the galaxy or galaxies, depending on where Krypton is in this universe, and uh, and that's why Kryptonians look like Earth people because they are more or less related. The oh good, yeah, Kelly be great. Um, the other one is what Jake just said. I don't think it was Viagra, Dave. I'm old, but I'm not that old. But anyway, yeah, think Jake said it better than I could. But yeah, when the infant arrives, it looks like an alien, but it's able to look like a human, kind of like a Martian Manhunter thing, you know. So anyway, fun to think about if you're a nerd like me. Uh, so Philip Wiley's novel Gladiator: An Influence on Superman. That one's flown completely under my radar, Alan. I'm looking it up right now. I may have to read this right away. Let's see here. Gladiator is the story of a man blessed with super abilities and cursed cities. With an infinitely superior mind and a sex drive that put insatiable women at his feet and turned men green with envy. It's a product of his time. If it's time, I take it. Anyway, I'm gonna check that out. It's only 19. It's only 99 cents on Kindle. So, speaking of Kindle, John Langan's book House of Windows is on Kindle Unlimited. So, if you haven't read that one yet, you should. So, thanks for the recommendation, Alan. All right. So, speaking of the new year, do any of you make New Year's resolutions? Yeah, it seems kind of pulpy. I don't want to know, Kim. I don't want to know. I will. I'll just trust you on that. Uh, I don't really make New Year's resolutions, but um, this year I did do something. I I've got whiteboards back here. You can't see them from this angle, but um, I put my goals among other things on it. And what I did yesterday was I wrote down my goals for 2025. Just that narrow 12-month window. What do I want to accomplish in 2025? Um, One of those things was growing the podcast and Lovecraft easing more, put down some concrete numbers for me to shoot for. Another ad, I might have to turn this off if I can. Huh. Yeah, I'm definitely not doing that again. I apologize. You guys were the guinea pigs, and you're suffering from it. Um. Anyway, goals concerning the easing the podcast. Um. I feel like if you make a resolution, this is just me, like to eat better or to lose weight, um, that may work for other people. For me, it's more like I put a number that I want to get to, and then I do everything I can do this year to reach that number. Exercise, eating right, and so forth. Sci-fi hasn't seen a single ad. All right, well, like I said, you guys are the guinea pigs. You'll have to let me know, okay? And if it sucks, then I won't hit that button again. Monty, do you mind trying to do a podcast here? He just pulled down some of my stuff. Oh, hey, Marianne. Thank you for upping your pledge. Speaking of, you just reminded me. Uh, I am thinking of, for you Patreons that are at the $10 level and up, I'm thinking of, instead of every other Friday night, just making it a Friday night, every Friday night thing. That doesn't mean that all the panelists can be there every time. That doesn't mean that you can be there every time, but I'm thinking about making it just every week thing. Um, One of my other goals concerns the Patreon and making the tiers. Uh, I I think and I hope that everyone feels like they're getting good value for their money, as well as supporting me, which I appreciate. But I'd like to increase the value, so that's one thing I was thinking about. Um, okay, yeah. It's Logan had me sign up a long time ago for something that's like $5 a month on YouTube where you never see any ads. I don't remember what it's called, but if any of you are on that, you won't see an ad. So anyway, back to 2025 goals. Let's see. The podcast, the weight number, and yeah, the other goal was the novella I'm working on that I want to get it published this year. Um, you're okay, Monty. Jupiter will be back. Okay, I'll do it, Marianne. I think I'll do it. So I'll announce that to the patrons tonight or tomorrow. And anyway, if well, I will be publishing it this year, whether people are interested or not. But I guess my question to you guys is, do you want to read a horror novella by me? Um, I don't want to talk about it too much, and maybe you're not interested at all, but I'll just say this. It's set in the 90s, and it's set around a video store, so some nostalgia there. And the video store is sort of the heart of the story. It's not about the video store, but yeah, that's all I can say. But anyway, I on the note of resolutions or goals, I bought a book that's more expensive than I usually spend on Kindle. It was $12.99, but it's called Atomic Habits, and I'm into the first couple chapters, and I've already been highlighting like crazy because it makes a lot of sense. And what I'm doing with my 2025 goals is first you write down the goals, and then next to that, you write down the habits that you're going to do every day to achieve those goals. Because the main thing about this book is well, let me read you this. Um, Too often, we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action. Meanwhile, improving by 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable, but it can be far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference that tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. Talking about, if you could improve towards your goal, even just 1% a day or so, by the end of a year, that would be really compounded. You okay, Monty? Here's another sentence that I highlighted. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. I really like that. All right, pal, lay down. It's all right. This can be a difficult concept to appreciate in daily life. We often dismiss small changes because they don't seem to matter very much in the moment. Sorry, Monty's a little uneasy tonight for some reason. Here's another paragraph I highlighted. It doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are right now. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results. An easy example is you could go to the gym 3 days in a row and work out like crazy, but you're not going to magically lose 20 pounds after those 3 days. You do lose weight and become more healthy by doing smaller things every day. That makes sense? And coffee really matters. The only reason why I'm mentioning this is I think maybe this matters to me, and I think maybe it'll matter to some of you. Uh, one more. You get what you repeat. So so anyway, it's a really good book so far. Atomic Habits is the name of the book. This Sunday, the panelists and I are going to do a 2024 horror review in 2024 horror in review, excuse me, and talk about some of our favorite horror movies, horror books, stories. I'm sure you could talk about some games, Alan, um, on Sunday, but just wanted to let you guys know that. Darren says, I went to Barnes & Noble and bought two Ray Bradbury books, The October Country and Bradbury Stories. Um, that's awesome, man. That's great. The Bradbury Stories, I don't remember. Does that have a story called Gotcha? That's one of the scariest stories that I've ever written. And Bradbury usually isn't too scary. Um, but Gotcha is really scary. There's some scenes in the Martian Chronicles in a story called The Third Expedition. It's also called something else in some editions of the book, but I forget what. But that one's creepy as hell. So anyway, what'd you guys do on vacation? Or I mean, excuse me, during the holidays. We didn't all get a vacation. I usually don't, but it really felt good. Um, I did a lot of reading, a lot of numbing my brain with TV and movies. Um, worked on the book house a little bit. Um, hung out with my family and my cats. It was really great. So got some nice gifts for Christmas and gave some nice gifts. Um, anyway, I hope you guys had a good holiday. It doesn't have gotcha? Okay. I forget which collection it's in, but it's hard to find. So, for those of you listening who are patrons, I uploaded the tour of the book house yesterday to Patreon. Um, so I hope you liked it. I'm proud of it. Never had a space like this before. It's awesome. For those of you who are not patrons, I'll be releasing that on YouTube tomorrow, but I just wanted to give it to the patrons first. So, um, yeah, hope you like it. Alan says, enjoyed time with my daughter while she was home from college. You can't beat that. Kim says, I watched a few movies on my list, watched a lot of Doctor Who. Hey, I did that too. Kick back and relax, which beats spending the day with the in-laws. Watching football, which I hate. Yeah, I'm not really big on sports either. Oh yeah, thanks, Derek. And I saw your note on Patreon an hour or so ago. Um, thank you. So I'm glad you like it. Um, next week, I'm going to record a um, Patreon podcast with Kristen Dearborn and with DeBronzo and any other of my panelists who want to be there. But we're going to talk about Aliens, the movies, Aliens, excuse me, the books, the basic world of Alien, the basic universe of Alien, that kind of thing. Now, these guys know, Kristen and Mike know way more than I do. So I'll probably just be nodding a lot, but that should be really fun. So, as usual, that's going to be available at the $5 and up. And that was DeBronzo's suggestion. And Kristen had a suggestion because we were talking about Missing 411, and I recommended the documentary Missing 411 The Hunted, which is really, really good and creepy. So we're going to do a Patreon soon and talk about Missing 411 too. So it's, you know, no matter what you think of it or what conclusions you draw, the whole phenomenon is pretty interesting. So I watched, I don't know, yeah, I don't think I can. I don't, Darren says, do you like Clive Barker at all? I don't actually, Darren. I mean, he's a great writer, but he's just not my kind of writer. The body horror stuff like that. I'm just not really into it. I've tried over the years, but it's just not for me. But I can see why horror readers love him. So, excuse me. Bookhouse tour. I talked about that. So I was watching this. Seem to be talking about not much horror tonight, but that's okay. I was watching this YouTube TED Talk earlier on depression, which has been seen by a couple of people. It has 11 million views. Jesus. And one of the things he talked about was how humans, ancient humans, they banded together into tribes, as I'm sure you all know. But our civilization today, we we don't really live that way anymore. And it is one of the underlying, I feel, and he feels, one of the underlying reasons why a lot of people are lonely and unhappy. A long time ago, I read this book, Ishmael by Daniel Quinn, and he's written several other books. My Ishmael, I think, is actually even better than Ishmael. But he talks about that. Um, and a lot of people have, it occurred to me that what we have here with the easing community, that's a tribe, and I hope it helps. I know it helps me. And it was a really interesting TED Talk. I'm going to see if I can link to it here. Give me a second. Sorry. I don't really plan out what I'm going to say on Thursday nights. All right. History. There we go. Share. Copy. There it is. If you guys want to watch it later or now, if you want to cut me off and watch it now. But it's really interesting. It really is. And I can't do it justice. You just have to watch it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was Hopefully I didn't just disappear from you guys. Let's see if I can find this damn article. Yeah, here it is. Inc. newsletters, whatever the heck that is. How to instantly become whatever you want to be. A tale of Ferraris, stoic philosophers, and entrepreneurs. Um, which sounds like a clickbait title, but it's actually a really good article. And I'm not going to read it to you, but there is one sentence in here if I can find it. Yeah. Teaching a music lesson or taking a programming gig on Fiverr or anything, all you have to do is start and you're an entrepreneur. Everything else is a matter of degree. And it talks about the hardest part is starting. And after that, keep it up and it can snowball. So, wow, Monty is out now. You live in Hawaii, Jake? Uh, yeah, thanks. I wanted to talk about New Year's Eve. Thanks for reminding me. No, we don't. Danielle calls it amateur night. So usually, or I always try to stay up till midnight because I guess we do have a tradition, a small tradition. Every New Year's, right at midnight, I kiss Danielle. So I was really tired on New Year's Eve. I didn't sleep really well the night before, but I stayed up. So, you know, I made it. Then I think I went to bed right after that. I can't remember. Do you guys, so you watch the Twilight Zone marathon, Kim? Do any of you have like regular cable still? I haven't had that in years. I'm just curious if people still do that or if they just do streaming anymore. Um, every time I see regular TV, the commercials just, I don't know how people do it. It's like every 5 minutes there's a commercial. So, anyway, I don't think tonight's session is going to go down as the greatest things I've ever said, but I'm glad you guys are here regardless. Kim has a bundle through Comcast. Darren, DirecTV. My sister has regular cable. Yeah, I guess more people than I thought. I noticed that Tubi has live TV now. Man, there's a lot of stuff on Tubi. That's pretty amazing. And the commercials are really limited. Speaking of commercials. And hey, it's free. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Derek. Appreciate that. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm kind of an astronomy dork. And I was reading the latest Scientific American earlier today. The article that I was reading is called The Hunt for Planet 9. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Is there a hidden world in the solar system? A new telescope will find out once and for all. This fits in with cosmic horror, right? Because we're talking about astronomy. So, yeah, we'll allow it. Most astronomers would love to find a planet, but Mike Brown may be the only one proud of having killed one. Thanks to his research, Pluto, the solar system's ninth planet, was removed from the pantheon, and the public cried foul. How can you revise our childhoods? How can you mess around with our planetariums? About 10 years ago, Brown's daughter, then around 10 years old, yeah, you remember all those weird um, Planet X things from the 70s? About 10 years ago, Brown's daughter, then around 10 years old, suggested one way he could find redemption: go find another planet. When she said that, I kind of laughed, Brown says. In my head, I was like, that's never happening. Yet, yeah, exactly. Exactly, Alan. I knew you'd remember who it was. Yet Brown may now be on the brink of fulfilling his daughter's wish. Evidence he and others have gathered over the past decade suggests something strange is happening in the outer solar system. Distant subplanetary objects are being found on orbits that look sculpted, arranged by an unseen gravitational force. According to Brown, that force is coming from a ninth planet, one bigger than Earth, but smaller than Neptune. Speaking of Neptune, I don't know if you guys all know how freaking huge Neptune is, but here's an interesting fact about Minecraft, of all things. Or at least on PC, I've read over and over that every Minecraft world, say you boot up your PC and you're playing on your own server or whatnot on Minecraft, every one of those are equal in size to the planet Neptune, which blows me away. Yeah, I'm a skeptic too. There's nothing wrong with being a skeptic. It's just a skeptic is someone that says, hey, um, give me evidence. I don't operate on faith. So anyway, that's pretty interesting. Nobody has found Planet 9 yet. If it's really out there, it's too far and too faint for almost any existing telescope to spot it, but that's about to change. And then it goes on to talk about this new telescope. Um, Kim, by the way, on Pluto, there are several other planetoids that are close in size, at least one that's close in size to Pluto. So if Pluto's a planet, then we'd have to add those too. But the current definition of a planet is circling the sun and that it clears its path. In other words, its gravity is, I'm explaining this terribly. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, here we go. Orbits the sun, has enough mass for its gravity to make it roundish, and 3, has cleared its orbit of smaller objects, except for moons and other satellites. So, sidebar, the term planet comes from the Greek word for wanderer. So, yeah, I guess something out there is causing these gravitational anomalies, Alan. So, it would be really cool if there was another planet out there. So, anyway, astronomy has always fascinated me. Um, Speaking of cosmic horror, we live kind of on the edge of the Milky Way galaxy, as I'm sure you guys know. Probably, Kim, I don't remember, but probably. The Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light years across. So, in other words, if you could travel at the speed of light, which we can't, nowhere near, but if you could, and that's the fastest you can travel in the universe, if you could, it would take you 100,000 years to go from one end of the Milky Way galaxy to the other. Okay? So, I hope so too, Dave. So, bear that in mind, okay? That is huge. That the Milky Way galaxy take you 100,000 years to cross it at the speed of light, and forget about the speeds we can go. It'd take a hell of a lot longer. With that in mind, the closest spiral galaxy to us that's the same kind of galaxy as the Milky Way is called Andromeda, and it's 2.5 million light years away. So if you could travel at the speed of light, it would take you 2.5 million years to go from here to visit Andromeda. And I just think about all that. I mean, there's plenty of empty space in a galaxy, but think about all that nothing, empty space between the Milky Way galaxy and Andromeda. And, you know, it fits right in with cosmic horror. So, um, Dave says, I remember reading that if the nearest planet in the next solar system had a telescope on Earth, they would see dinosaurs as the light would be 265 million years old, I believe. Um, that's actually not accurate. There are plenty of uh, places in the universe that's true of, but the nearest star to us is 4.5 light years away. So if we could travel at the speed of light, again, which we can't, it would take us 4.5 years to get there. So if somebody's on a planet circling Alpha Centauri, which if memory serves is a triple star system, um, they'd basically see 2020, you know, and are probably saying, good luck, guys. I hope you get through that pandemic. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you had a powerful enough telescope and you're in a planet in Andromeda, even Andromeda, you would only see us as we were, you know, 2.5 million years ago. So you'd have to be a lot further out. Um, so anyway, am I boring you guys? If I'm not, I will keep trying. All right, let's see here. I don't know if in another life, if I'd had the opportunity. Yeah, M class, Alan. Hell of a lot of M class planets. And, this is one of the things I like about Star Trek, even though it's all, it's the shiny version of the future, right? Oh, thank you. Um, but even on Star Trek, with all the speeds and so forth, they don't, they can't venture out of the galaxy yet. Just this one galaxy. In fact, Voyager is lost in the Delta Quadrant of our galaxy. So that's one thing that I think is somewhat realistic in Star Trek, that we basically haven't even barely discovered, began exploring our section of the Milky Way, much less the whole Milky Way, much less neighboring galaxies. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, everyone looks so human. I think that's why they finally did the alien seeding thing that I referred to earlier, Kim. So, what's you, eh, what's you guys' favorite Star Trek film or series? I was kind of, I liked Picard, some of it. It was all pretty good. Um, for me, it's my mood. Sometimes I'm in the mood to rewatch Voyager episodes, you know, and I was listening to recently. I was listening to an audiobook of Leonard Nimoy's, the I Am Spock one, and it's interesting. He talks about the third season of the original series and how the showrunner was was basically forced out after season two, and then season three it got really ridiculous. And he talks about how embarrassed he was um, to be doing a particular episode. I think Spock's brain. He was like, the whole thing was just ridiculous, and I was acting in this ridiculous um, script, and I was really embarrassed. So it's an interesting book, and luckily he read it, so that's nice to hear his voice. Um, no, I didn't really have a TV until I moved out, Dave. Um, I think I've heard of it, but that's about all I know. I didn't know he hosted it. So it's probably on streaming somewhere. Oh. Um, First of all, who has seen Nosferatu? I'm excited to see it. Secondly, a few months ago, I was looking for Shadow of the Vampire on streaming. Nowhere. I mean, bloody nowhere could I find it. It was not available. And I noticed that you can rent it on Amazon now. And I have not seen that in, I don't know. I don't remember when it came out, but it's been at least a decade that since I've seen it, probably 15 years. Um, yeah, I'm gonna wait for streaming on Nosferatu, Kim. But I don't know, Shadow of the Vampire. You guys all know what Shadow of the Vampire is about? Okay, year 2000, that's when it came out. Um, I'll just read the synopsis off of Google. F.W. Murnau, I'm probably not saying that right, is struggling to create his silent classic Nosferatu on location in Eastern Europe. The director is obsessed with making this the most authentic vampire movie ever. To that end, he has employed a real vampire, Max Schreck, played by Willem Dafoe, explaining to the crew that he is the ultimate of that new breed, the method actor. Um, Shrek will appear only in character and only at night. So, yeah, you can rent it high def on Amazon Prime if you don't have it for $3.99, and you can buy it for $9.99. So, Monty, what are you doing? Hi, buddy. He's like, I got to get where people can see me. Hey, buddy. Now he's all sleepy. He was running around lately. Yeah, the Doug Jones. I did scroll by it on YouTube, but I've never seen it. Thank you for telling me it's awful because now I'm not going to waste my time. So anyway, um, what else have you guys seen lately? I think I might watch a little Voyager tonight. I'm wondering if any of you have seen a movie called Cuckoo, Cuckoo. It's now on Hulu, and it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Let me read you the description. It's adapted from a book, too, I believe. Here's the ultimate in not giving away what the plot is. A 17-year-old girl is forced to move with her family to a resort where things are not what they seem. Yeah, I love the original Fright Night. Did you like Smile 2, Alan? Um, Also, the remake is a whole different animal, and I was prepared to not like it, but I actually do kind of like it. David Tennant, um, I love David Tennant's. My son is texting me and says that Jupiter wants in. Yeah, he's probably cold. I've tried to get him in here before. You're so cool, Brewster. Uh, the vampire is kind of misogynistic in the remake, didn't you think? Well, not kinda. He's very misogynistic. Okay, excuse me a second. I've got to let Jupiter in myself because he's walking the dog. Sorry. Hey, pal. You cold? Oh, yeah, well, you can stay warm in here. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna let you go, but you gotta say hi to everybody. Okay, there you go. Be free. As free as you can be in the bookhouse, at least. Sorry about that, guys. That cat is so cute. Here's another synopsis of Cuckoo. 17-year-old Gretchen reluctantly leaves America to live with her father at a resort in the German Alps. Plagued, plagued by strange noises and bloody visions, she soon discovers a shocking secret that concerns her own family. Well, we've got Hulu, so it's free to watch. Guess I'm gonna have to check it out. So, all right. Anything else for tonight, you guys? Alan, you're still off work, aren't you? Yeah, I have that prequel on on Audible. I just haven't listened to it yet, but I picked it up for a credit a while back. You don't have to go back till Tuesday. Danielle usually has a 4-day work week, but um, once a month she has to go in on Mondays, for those all important teacher meetings that I'm sure you're familiar with. So she's got to go back to work on Monday. But anyway, well, for what it's worth, Cuckoo is 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb and 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's see what the new popcorn meter says about it. Whoa, popcorn meter says 59%. I don't know. I love the trailer. I thought the trailer was creepy as hell. Oh, yes, I'm a fan of Near Dark. Man, that's a wonderful vampire movie. Um, have you read The Suicide Motor Club, Darren? I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before. By Christopher Buehlman. It's if you like Near Dark, you will like The Suicide Motor Club. And by the way, it's read by the author. Chris reads it, and he's an actor too. So he he is a great narrator. Let's put it that way. Bottom line, if you're a fan of Near Dark, you will like The Suicide Motor Club. The other vampire book that he wrote is um, sorry, I'm blanking. That wonderful fibrofog. The Lesser Dead. Thank you, Kim. And that's really good too. Um, that's set in the 70s. Suicide Motor Club is set in the 60s, if I remember correctly. And in the 70s in The Lesser Dead, the vampires live in the tunnels under New York City, which is just genius. I interviewed Christopher a few months ago, and we talked about that a little bit. He talked about, he thought he was thinking about the New York tunnels in that decade, and he said something like, this would be the most highly desired real estate for vampires because they can live down there away from the sunlight. It's just a really good book. And the they're both in the same universe, if memory serves, but that's about it. They don't really cross over, and comparing the two is kind of apples and oranges. So they're both great. So anyway, guys, I really missed you. I had a very relaxing time for the last couple of weeks, but glad to be back in the saddle. And Marianne, if you're still here, we will do um, a hangout tomorrow night at the usual time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. So, um, so yeah, I'll see you then. I'm glad you guys had a good holiday, and thanks for spending part of your Thursday night with me. Okay, and for those of you who are going to be at the hangout tomorrow night, I will see you then, and the rest of you, um, see you Sunday. Have a good night, guys. Oh, I got Danielle this gift. One of the gifts I got her was a Doctor Who poster, which she's not into Doctor Who at all, but she's an English teacher, and I got it for her classroom, and I was hoping she would like it, and she loves it. And it's got, it says on it, remember, we're all stories in the end, so make yours a good one. And I really love that. So I think it'll be great for a classroom. And I guess that's how I'll close. We're all stories in the end. I hope you guys are making yours a great one. And see you next time.